Hey y'all, it's your legal bestie attorney Simone, and I am so happy to be here with you guys today. This week we're going to do it a little differently. So I have decided this week, Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, you can tune in here to Girl Is That Legal, and we're going to do viral legal topics each day this week, Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. I think I could join y'all on your lunch break. That way we can dive into it. I had a good time this weekend with you guys. If you missed it, I posted a video about Shara Sevens, the passing of her husband, some of her greatest hits that were involving him. Let me know where you guys are viewing us from. And don't forget, you can get a free consultation with me. My focus is on injury law. If you recall, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I was actually the first civil attorney to sue R. Kelly civilly for what he was doing to women. And that was now the rubric that was used to sue Diddy and to sue many others. I do civil law is my specialty. So that's auto accidents, Uber accidents, 18-wheelers. You can call 855-4-SIMONE, SYMONE, anywhere in the US for a free consultation. You can also check out my book, Background Checks 101. And yes, we are bringing back the background check episode. Some of those episodes are going to be pre-recorded just because of how juicy some of these documents are. I got to make sure we get those redactions going. But let us know where you are watching us from. Okay, I see we got Tara from Smyrna, Georgia, Grand Rising. We've got a few. Let's see. Let me think. What are we going to start? Which one are we going to start with? Let's start with this happy foolishness. So it is this woman, y'all. I might go to jail. I'm going to tell y'all right now. I might be going to jail. If I am, it's because I took a new job working for this lady. Let me show you. Working for this lady right here. Oh, hold on. Where did she go? This is gonna be my new boss.
I don't know if it's a joke or it's real, like your business of scaring married men to go back home.
No,
I
it's
saw
a
that
real
on
business.
Instagram too. Like
Still no sound? Hold on, still no sound? I hope I know how to start this over. Hold on. Let me know in the chat. Could you hear that sound that second time I did it? I can't see. I can see it. I can hear it. Okay, you can hear it now. Great. All right, let's keep going. So this is a woman. I'm going to set it up. This is a woman in Uganda. She is a Ugandan activist. Her name is Crystal. And it says she is literally taking matters into her own hands as she and her team physically beat up men accused of mistreating women. All right, so here is her explaining her business model, y'all. So this is why I may or may not, if you don't see me for a while, I might be going to jail because I'm about to apply for a new job with her.
Real business. Yeah. It's my latest.
So tell us about that.
Okay. So I recently started a business where I beat men. So you are in a violent relationship. This boyfriend is trying to scam you. You're confused about him. He's cheating on you. He's beating you up. It's actually given me more money than any content creation gig has ever given me. Like I've gotten so many clients from TikTok and I'm so grateful, you guys. Shout out to you, babes. I love you. My girl is from TikTok. You guys have really, really kept the lights on in my house. So yeah, I beat them up properly. I have a group of people that I work with to like beat them back into like shape. Do you understand? These men who go out and drink and then they are at a random kafunda, they just point me towards the kafunda. You understand? Jump on a call with me. My number is in my bio on TikTok, as a matter of fact. Wake me up at midnight to beat a man. Please, give me the opportunity. So I have a goal. In all this, I have a goal. I want to be able to beat at least 1,000 men by 2027. Do you understand?
2027, we can do it.
I feel like
we can do it together.
If I can do that as a businesswoman, that's good. That's good enough. So I'm also trying to work with the police. I want to go to the police and ask them to help me. After beating you up, I want to be able to drag you to the police and say, this one has been beating up a pregnant woman. This one has been beating up a girl that's underage. This one raped a girl. This one, I'm literally going to punish men for sure. Yes, it's a thing. It's not a joke, actually.
It's not. So
something. I don't know if it's a joke or it's real. Like
she said, no, it's not a joke. So it beats men for a living. In case you're looking for some side work, it's not dead legal in America. We're gonna have to call it you can't, unless it's self-defense, but you can go help another woman. We can go jump them. Okay, we got to be strategic with it. Speaking of a man that is speaking of speaking of a man who needs his A beat, okay, a man who needs his beat. Here we go. Corey Holcomb. Now, if you hadn't heard about Corey Holcomb is the comedian. He actually made his mainstream start from a TV show called America's Funniest Comic, or however it was called. Last Comic Standing, I think is what it was actually. And that is how he got his start. But he has just gotten progressively more and more disgusting and vile. Last year, he went viral, literally having an online beef with his daughter, who was like 17 or 18 years old, calling her names, calling her big words, all kind of stuff. I'm not going to play this. But speaking of a man who needs his A-B, this is Corey Holcomb outside of a comedy show. I believe it was last year. So TMZ found this. And I'm going to play the clip for you. And then I'm going to play an additional clip that I found and recently posted. It said, there's nothing funny about what comedian Corey Holcomb appears to do by socking a woman right in the face, igniting a Hollywood street brawl. The surveillance video allegedly shows him and a female comic, Christina Payne, let's see what was over, jawing at each other. Who wrote this? Basically arguing with each other outside of the Hollywood Improv as a large group of people watched. And then suddenly he unloads a right jab to her face. TMZ broke the story, but this happened December of 2024. Law enforcement sources told us Corey had punched her over a month-long feud between the two comics. And this video that was obtained by The Busy Room plays out exactly as the incident was described. This is her, Christina. Immediately after he hits her, a bunch of guys jump in and slam him to the ground and apparently hit him until he's unable to escape. No. What I see in the video is that a bunch of guys jump her dude who's coming to defend him. It says Christina filed a battery report with LAPD, but Corey was never even arrested. In fact, 2 months later, he attempted but failed to get a restraining order against her. You dumb dingbat. Claiming she put her hands on him first while his back was turned to her. Hold on. If she put her hands on you first while you're back, first of all, how is that a threat? You, as a big fat black man that you are, race here doesn't matter. Aside from this is clearly an opportunity. He could have protected a black woman, but chose instead to punch one. But if your back is to someone and they put their hands on you, then what threat is that? Literally. Okay, so maybe she may have shoved you. Yes, people are supposed to keep their hands to herself, but in self-defense, you can use like force to defend yourself. So if someone touches you from the back, boy, your big fat tail was not concerned. Here, let me just play it for you. Here we go. No. So this is the video. Let me set it up. This is the woman. This is big old Corey. There ends up being one of these guys. I believe it was this guy right next to her, Payne, that was her friend who then hits Corey in defense of her and then the melee ensues. So hold on. I'm going to play the clip. I wish I didn't have this big old. Make it a little bigger. Hold on. Here we go. That's him. And then that's her friend that punches him and starts getting on to him. They kind of try to pull him apart. But then some people are stomping on the guy who's defending her. I'm gonna start it again. And we're gonna watch it again. Now Corey is complaining. Poor little Corey. Because he's saying that it's ruined his ability to get work and he can't get jobs and boo-hoo-hoo. Sorry for you. What did you think would happen? I know he thought how he thinks people could side with him. He's a special type of slow. Here it is again. Special type of slow. Dingbat. That's her. She's got her hands in the air. She's upset. They have, again, it has been a month-long feud. Hold on. A months-long feud they've been going through. Ooh. And then that's them breaking them apart. Just idiot. Just lunacy. But I got this little clip here. Y'all, look what I done found. So apparently Corey has a history. He is not new to putting his hands on women. This is a clip that I found that I posted to my social media of Corey on the Jerry Springer show. Make sure the volume is on here. On the Jerry Springer show back in the day, along with D-Ray Davis, the comedian. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the audio is there. Along with D-Ray Davis, the two of them are on the Jerry Springer show. He ends up putting it. Now, this is a very handsome woman. Now, I don't know if this, I wrote Corey Holcomb and D-Ray Davis on the Jerry Springer show. Apparently, Corey Holcomb was putting his hands on women back then, too. Not really sure. I said, not really sure if this kind of woman counts because I really don't look. Okay, just watch.
Reno, yes, Reno has a fade. Yes, Reno has a beard.
Reno
he don't have breath. He has a chest like yours. That's still a woman.
But I came out here.
Men are not supposed to put their hands on women.
What
Okay?
kind of a woman?
Clean it.
Tell me
a woman. He got it. Tell me why he don't have it. Live with him.
You know what you need to be done, shouting.
That hot.
Hey. You need to be set down.
Nuts down. Pay him no mind. He came on TV to meet me and he want to put his hands on you.
I whooped your man ass.
No, you get the whoop right here, bitch. Sit down. I'm still right here. Sit down.
I think that's supposed to be the lady.
All right, here's D-Ray. Bring out D-Ray.
He don't want to be outside.
No, I want to be outside. She don't want me outside because she want to be with me.
She want to be with you.
No comment.
For what? Now I want to be with him. Now you want to be with...
Man, I would tell you got a lot of come back on the show. You know that ain't true. Because I can do something to her you can't never do.
Yeah, get him.
I know.
That's exactly
Hey, let me tell you something. You want to be a baby daddy,
All right.
man?
I have a daughter, so I am a baby's daddy.
You a baby mama?
I'm a baby mama and a baby daddy. Now, what is you?
Now, who that is?
Who that is? Who I am? Reno, you coming up here trying to make a name for yourself. You ain't...
Look, hey.
Now, sit, what?
All right. What's his name? Comedian Damon Williams said, "This is all my fault. I sort of introduced them to the producers." There was some, y'all remember coming home from like school and stuff, trying to rush to watch Jerry Springer. Oh my gosh, Jerry Springer was the biggest mess ever, but it was fun to watch. All right, so that was the Corey Holcomb component. Next up, now, okay, here we are. Let me share this. All right, next up, we're gonna talk Yandy and Mendeecees real quickly. Yandy and Mendeecees. Bless their hearts. All right. So Yandy and Mendeecees from Love and Hip Hop have decided to part ways after 20 years together in an emotional sit down. Now, I wanted to use this. Yes, I know, guys, this is old, but I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to just illustrate a legal point. I'm going to play this clip for you guys.
Sit and talk to my husband away from the kids because I just feel like we have been moving really fast and not able to really have this conversation that I think we've both been avoiding for some time.
Oh no, I'm just mad, man. I'm angry, I'm mad.
I'm just lost for words. I was just building our dream house. I had our future planned out already 6 years ago. I had no plan B, I promise you. I had no plan B.
Coming from where we come from, having the world at our fingertips, I think it has, I guess, shaken us to the core. Things could be true, things could be lies, because we got to travel. We got to go places. We got to be out. But sometimes the noise just gets so loud. And your voice hasn't been louder than the noise to me. I'm tired. I wake up and I'm tired. I can't live like that. And I have to be the best version of me so that I can create the best version. I want to sit.
Got it. All right. So unfortunately, basically what she's saying is like, hey, there have been all these accusations and it's like, you're not really defending yourself against them. You're not defending our marriage. So they acknowledge they were never actually married. And what's interesting here is, number one, this is exactly what the hell Jennifer Williams and Christian Fool's Gold should have done, which was pulling Yandy and Mendeecees. Now, the exact reason why they chose not to formally marry, they married on TV. And what was weird is not only did they say that they married, and then they actually had a big elaborate ceremony on their show in Dubai. And I wanted to use this as an opportunity to illustrate the legal differences. Now, this happened in Georgia. Georgia does not have any form of common law, but baby, if they would have pulled that ish in Texas, Mendeecees could file for divorce. Here's how the difference works. In states that recognize common law, what you have to do to be able to go to court on it is all it takes is for you to hold yourselves out as husband and wife to the public. So Texas says what you can't do is you can't go up to the church house and be like, this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my wife. And then when you decide y'all don't like each other no more, just go on your ways. How do I know? Well, it was one of the questions that I aced on the Texas bar. This was a real life scenario that happened in Texas. There was a guy and a girl. They were together. They had kids. She really wanted to get married. He was like, I don't want the government all in my business. And so they never formally married, but would hold each other out to the public as being married. Now, she done got sick of his ass. She got sick of his behind. And at some point, she wins the lottery. She wins the lottery, but doesn't tell him, breaks up with him. They separate houses. And then he later finds out. Do you know that man went to court for half that lottery ticket and won? And won. Because the court said it doesn't matter that y'all were not formally married. What matters is you told everybody else in the world that you were. That could be a debt collector. That could be anything like that. So Yandy is very, very lucky that they did this in Georgia. Because if they did it in Texas, now what would have to be required is someone like either of the parties would have to say, no, I want half the other person's assets. They could go for it, even though there was never formally a wedding. So that's just what I wanted to illustrate through these two. Now, then that takes me over to this other gentleman. Now, 50 Cent, oh my God. Oh, 50 he has been so naughty recently, y'all. So naughty. Hold on. Someone says, no, as soon as this is talking back about, Yandy and Mendeecees. Thrift the Runway says, oops, let me put that back up. Says, why can't me and my vision? She says, no, as soon as they were going to get married, he learned she didn't sign the paperwork. So it was always known that they weren't married, but she said they didn't need paperwork to be married. So that's not under the law. That's not what counts. It doesn't matter that he knew they weren't married. What I'm saying is if they are in a state that recognizes common law marriages, which Georgia does not, right? So they're good to go. But if it were Texas, Texas would say, I don't care. He can know. Literally, in the example that I gave with the lottery ticket, both of them knew they weren't legally married. The issue is if you hold out to the public that you are, then later either party can go back to court and ask for a divorce, ask for a split of the assets, etc. So I hope that helps explain it a little bit better. Okay. All right. Now, next up. Now, speaking of Jesus. Okay, 50 Cent has been cutting up recently, and we all know this, but particularly now last night, 50 Cent posted a real ugly video of Tiny, T.I.'s wife. I'm not going to post it. I don't want to encourage that type of bullying, but I want to publicly say Tiny is so unproblematic. Tiny does not bother nobody. She just be out here trying to be a mom, trying to be a grandma, trying to be a good wife to this man, T.I., who over time has given her the freaking blues. This man has done all sorts of things. And currently 50 Cent and T.I. at some point, like some years ago, had considered doing a versus. And recently there was T.I. was on a podcast where they asked him, what's the status of that? And he was basically saying, no, he's not going to do it because 50 Cent changed up on the plan. And as a result, he's not interested. 50 responded by posting an unflattering picture of Tiny, which I think was deplorable. Now, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to post that picture. And Tiny and I'm sorry, the children, one of the children, King, has like gone online to defend his mother, as he should. But what I am going to talk about is one thing that was interesting that 50 Cent has been talking about is he is in this spat with Jim Jones. So this is where we're going back to another form of not married people who have been together for a long, long time. That's Jim Jones and Chrissy, okay? Now, if you don't remember what they look like, hold on, I'm going to show you. Because if you weren't, this is Chrissy. Chrissy has always had the most beautiful skin, healthy hair. And she's been with Jim Jones, they said, since at least 2004. Jim Jones been giving this lady the blues, okay? She's been with him for a good long while. She's been wanting him to marry her. He has been dragging his feet. They have been forever engaged. And at this point, it looks like a blessing. See, this is what it looked like when you be asking God for something that you don't really want or need. That's what probably is going on here. And here's why. We're going to go back over to 50. So, Jim has been going through it, okay? Jim Jones, it says, responds after 50. Let me go to the beginning. So 50 done started with Jim. So apparently Jim did not pay the rent in his podcasting studio and has been evicted. Now, Jim Jones is notorious. Hold on, let me see, make sure this, I don't think you see that. Jim Jones, there we go. Jim Jones has been notorious for not paying his bills. Okay. Jim Jones that is just not a gift. I don't know if he just don't have the money. You know, it's some ghetto people who they have money. They like to spend it on chains and ghetto stuff. I don't know which one it is, but this is the actual lockout notice to Jim Jones for his studio. It says lease agreement that was dated December 17th of 2025 between the company, and basically IFC management and Jim Jones. It says that the tenant was served with a 15-day notice of default. Usually that means you didn't pay, dated January 5th, 2026, which expired January 22nd. Okay. Then it said the tenant's tenancy on the premises has been terminated, that pursuant to the landlord's rights under the lease, including paragraph 17, the landlord has elected to re-enter and take possession of the premises as in peaceably recovered possession. Okay. The tenant may make payment arrangements with the landlord to coordinate the retrieval of his property from the premises. That should the tenant attempt to enter the premises, change the locks, or seek to retrieve property or cause any third party to do so without the landlord's express permission, the landlord deserves the right to prosecute him, basically. Y'all, here's the thing. When you get locked out of a commercial lease, it is a huge problem because they get to take your stuff that's in there. That's why if you know you got a commercial lease and there's a chance of you getting locked out, you better take everything before you get locked out, because they're able to keep your stuff and use it, basically hold it hostage until you pay whatever the back rent is, all of it, or they can auction it. So he's probably, if this was it appears that this was his music studio. Y'all, that music equipment is so expensive. A lot of the equipment actually may even be on lease, meaning he's going to owe them people that he's leasing the equipment from, if in addition to the landlord. So here is a video that 50 posted. It says, damn, bro, this wouldn't have happened if we were friends. Want to be friends? This is Jim Jones being locked out, trying to kick the door in. One of his homeboys walked down the hallway, saw I was going to say, ooh, I don't want to be no part of that. This was on the 19th of February, y'all. This just happened. This is him trying to kick in the door. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. This is crazy. Look at him. He's so frustrated. Bless his heart. You got to pay your bills, Bookie. I know, Chrissy. There's more. All right. Then it says, then Jim Jones seemingly responds after 50 Cent shares the surveillance photo of him trying to kick in his own door, saying he responds with footage of him kicking doors in with at least, Kung Fu gym, no lock doors. I don't, whatever that means. All right. Then here's another clip from another angle of him kicking. I mean, he getting that door good. He getting it good in there. And then up another angle. Damn. That's his homeboy or somebody else is looking like, up. Then they get in there. But hold on. Same thing, another angle, right? But y'all, why did 50 go make friends with the owner of the property? It says, Sam is my partner. I own the joint. Now you're going to fix every door you kick, or I'm going to kick your butt, Jimmy, by Monday. You're destroying my property. Y'all know how petty you got to be to go buy the building that your nemesis is renting from and has not paid the lease on. This is crazy. How long has the live been on? We've been on for 30 minutes. It said it's his podcast studio. Exactly. So he's got all this podcast equipment. Podcasting is his stream of income now. But hold on, I want to bring you guys to a unfun fact that Jim is not new to not paying the bills. If you don't recall, here we go. I'm gonna share this tab. Jim and Chrissy went into foreclosure in 2019 because Jim let their house go into foreclosure. I remember this vividly because I remember watching segments about this on Love and Hip Hop thinking, Chrissy, you sure you want to marry this dimwit? You sure you want to marry this fool? So they had purchased this house back in, I think it was 2010. Okay. Here, 2006. In 2006, the couple purchased this home in New Jersey for $680,000, okay, with a mortgage of 6.875%, and he was supposed to make payments of $4,467 each month, but he failed to pay for almost a decade. Based on the mortgage agreement, he was responsible for paying the entire amount if the loan went into default. That is any case. So let me see if I got a picture of the house. Hold on. There was a picture. I want you to see the house. Hold on. There is a picture of the house. Let me go back to it. I mean, because now that house, I am sure, is worth a good deal of money. A good deal of money. Where it is in New Jersey and the surrounding facts. Hold on a second. Let me pull it up. All right, specifically. So here's the summary is, here we go. And I'm loading a photo of it. I want you to see this photo. There we go. So this is the house, right? Hold on. All right. So basically, rapper Jim Jones and his partner, Chrissy Lampkin, they actually lost the 5-bedroom New Jersey mansion to foreclosure in 2019. The property was famously featured on the reality show and was eventually sold back to the bank for only $100. So it was sold for $100 at the foreclosure sale. They bought it for $680,000 in 2006. And then, but the issue that was featured on the show was that the whole time, Chrissy was never told from Jim that there was any issues whatsoever on the house. So in effect, can you imagine? And I've heard many wives have called my office and complained about this. The gist of it is that they trust their partner like he's the dude. He's the rapper. He's the super famous person, right? That you got this mortgage. Baby, Bookie, that's not even a $5,000 mortgage. You spend more on bottle service at Live in Miami. I'm sure of it. So all this time, Chrissy's thinking everything's fine. He's got the mortgage. It's $5,000 a month. They have cars. He's driving around in a Rolls Royce and a Phantom. The monthly payment, if you have a note on a Phantom plus insurance, is more than that generally, right? And then ultimately it was sold at auction for $100. Now, let me be clear with you. Here's how that works. Nobody actually won the house for $100. They owed 1.24 million, but the house was only worth about 780. We're going to round that up. So the house was worth about 800,000. What happens is when your house goes up for foreclosure and they don't clear the debt, which was 1.24 million, the bank keeps it. So the bank, quote, buys it back for $100. Then the bank basically tries to put it back on the market and sell it for whatever they can get for it. So that's what it means by it was sold for $100. Nobody actually owns it. In order for someone to win at a foreclosure auction, they have to pay at least the amount of the debt, which was here 1.24. When the amount of the debt is not received at auction, and here's the thing, ain't nobody paying no $1.24 million for that house at auction. Okay, it's a cute little house, but the reason nobody will pay that is because remember, when it's a foreclosure auction, you don't get to go in the house. You don't get to see the condition, and most people tear that bitch up. Okay, they tear that thing up. We bought a foreclosure house before. It didn't have no light fixtures. They took the toilets because people are mad that they're getting foreclosed on. Okay, so usually that thing is toe up from the flow up. You don't know if people have put. I own a title company, Experience Title. So if you ever want to close a real estate transaction in the state of Texas, give us a call at 855-4-Simone, Simone with a Y. And I will tell you, at foreclosures, maybe people sometimes, the homeowner that lost the house will be so mad, they will put concrete in the toilets, in the plumbing, and you can't do nothing about it. It's a foreclosure. Like, they have lost the property. But my point is, Jim has been doing this, and Chrissy, I know there were times where she was like, I don't understand why you won't marry me. Baby, it sounds to me like Jesus did you a favor. That now you don't have to be financially tied to this grown man who be stunting on the internet, this grown man who just historically has not paid his bills. You know how embarrassing it has to be on a national TV show like Love and Hip Hop, and your house go into foreclosure for a $680,000 New Jersey home. That is a really great price. Today, I believe that house is worth like 1.5 or 1.7 million. I can't recall. Somebody says you can build cheaper than that. Exactly, Glam. Exactly, Glam. Ain't nobody paying no 1.24 for a house you can't walk through. Not happen. Hey, it says, thank you for asking. As far as states that I practice, I'm licensed and passed the bar in New York, New Jersey, in Texas. Texas is my primary state where I practice from, but I do serious injury cases all over the nation. I actually create legal teams. I pair with teams in various states to handle serious injury matters. So those are my primary cases. So 18-wheelers, Ubers. I love suing Uber. I love suing Lyft. So yeah, very, very embarrassing. Very embarrassing there. All right. And last but not least, we're going to talk real quickly, Kimora Lee Simmons. Now, I'm reminding you guys, we are, hold on, here we go. Here we go, Kimora. Oops. We're going to talk Kimora Lee. Now, we are, as in this week, I am going to be going live at 11 a.m. Central, Monday through Thursday this week. I hope you join me. And if there are more topics you want to see me cover this week, then let me know down below what those are. As well, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And last but not least, today we're going to talk Kimora Lee Simmons. Now, Kimora Lee has been in the headlines, and they have been saying, one of the things I love to do with my stories is debunk myths, where basically a lot of times the media will give you like a headline, but they're not really giving you the truth of a story. So let me switch to this one. Here we are. So with Kimora Lee Simmons, she has been in the news for, quote, refusing to leave a $25 million mansion that was bought by her disgraced husband and funded by massive global fraud. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of the article, and I'm going to tell you why my advice to her is, girl, don't you move. Don't you leave. You stay put. Girl, stay put. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, guys. It says entrepreneur and reality TV star Kimora Lee has spent around 5 years living in a legally contested $25 million Beverly Hills mansion purchased by her estranged husband with alleged money that he stole from a Malaysian sovereign wealth fund. What that would be is like if you had an American, like a pension fund, let's say it was a fund that it was all the Walmart workers had a pension fund and you stole from that pension fund, something along those lines. Just loosely. It said Simmons has not made a mortgage or rent payment in that 5-year time per court documents, and she's allegedly refusing to vacate the house. Let me be very clear, as she should. First of all, when you are in a dispute over your property, don't you ever leave. Don't you do it. Because once you leave, you can never get your house back. They will try to give you the money for the house. But the problem is this house is likely appreciated so much that part of what she wants is the appreciation among others. Okay. And you may never get your money back. You stay in that sucker as long as possible, because at least, and you don't you pay no mortgage. Don't you pay nothing that you are not required to do by the judge. Now, in this case, she's claiming that her estranged husband, Tim Lesnar, sold the property fraudulently and without the authority to do so to real estate moguls, the Rubin brothers. It is a 7-bedroom estate that sits on 3.7 acres in the heart of Beverly Hills and can be seen in her current reality show, Kimora, back in the Fab Lane. Now, so I'm telling you right now, if you know anybody, here's what effectively happened. Her raggedy husband, estranged husband, he has already started his jail sentence for fraud. In the course of all of this, there are a few lawsuits that are going. 2 of those. One of those is that he put up as collateral for his bail, where he was able to sit out for approximately 8 years while he was ratting on everybody but his mama. He probably ratted on her too. But he was able to sit out of prison for 8 years by putting up shares of stock in a particular company as collateral. Her argument is part of the shares that he put up were hers. Russell Simmons is saying the same thing. Russell is actually blaming Kimora, saying Kimora put up some of his shares. Kimora's like, shut up, boy. That's what she's saying. She's effectively saying, shut up, boy, quit lying. And what happened is when he pled guilty, the government took Kimora's shares, and Kimora is claiming she didn't even know he was putting them shares up, and she would not have authorized that. He put up Kimora's shares and Russell's shares, and the government seized them as part of the asset forfeiture. Whenever you are found guilty of a fraud, the government then gets to seize assets, and those are some of the assets. Another part of that is that I've had multiple women complain of this. They're in the middle of this dispute regarding jail, etc. And in doing that, her husband behind her back goes in and sells it to some homeboys. Don't that sound like some stuff a little scoundrel would do? He done sells it to some homeboys. Well, you cannot do that while you're married, especially while married in states like California and Texas. He purchased the house during the marriage, so it's half hers. And as owning a title company, I can also attest that generally, whether it is separate or community property, if you know someone's married, you're supposed to get their spouse to sign off on any transaction to sell it. It appears that was not done. So a number of people are part of this dispute, but I just want to correct the myth that says she's sitting in his house and not paying no mortgage. Who do you pay it to when you're saying the current owners illegally obtained the property and you're saying it should have never been sold to nobody else in the first place? You better not, unless a judge tells you who and how much to pay somebody. Don't you give no money. That sounds stupid. That sounds really stupid. So I'm looking at an article here. That's the Daily News. The Daily News stayed coming up with some mess. They're always full of it. So this is it for today's talk, y'all. Let me know what topics you want me to cover tomorrow. Come right back here, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. We're going to talk more viral legal topics. I'm your girl, Attorney Simone. And this is Girl, Is That Legal? Oh, and tomorrow we are going to talk about Michigan's head coach, the updates in his case, and what that means for whether or not he might be able to either get his job back or get some of that money back in that. I believe it's a $49 or $90 million contract that he lost chasing behind some tail up there in Michigan. Bye, y'all.
Is that legal? Is that legal? Is that legal?